Welcome to the Don't Call Me Midlife podcast. Hey, Alex.
Hey, Nicole, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Been a busy week already.
Always.
Always. Girl, what's in your cup today?
Oh, water.
Just water.
Just water. Just water.
All right. It is the afternoon, so that's okay. Good. Keep hydrating.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, but yeah, it's just water. Sorry. Wah.
Totally.
What's in yours?
Coffee. I'm having lots of coffee. It's been a very busy day, lots of kid stuff going on, so I need some extra caffeine. I did put in some pumpkin nut pods because I do love that, so I feel like it's an afternoon treat, but I love my coffee. I drink way too much, and that's okay.
Yum. They need to make a blueberry nut pod.
Ooh, like a blueberry muffin would be really good.
Yes.
Ooh, I love that.
I know. So, lots of caffeine. What else have you got? What else have you got going on?
This week, I am preparing for a girls' trip. I am going to Vermont with some of my mom friends that I've known since my kiddos were little. And we plan this it takes probably about 6 months to get a date between everything.
Right. And then you have to like reschedule.
And we did have to reschedule. We didn't know if this was really going to happen. We got to do the doodle poll. And I feel like as we get older, when you have these girls' trips, someone's going to miss something. We're going to miss a kid's sports thing. We're going to miss something. But I think by prioritizing it, I think that is how these girls' trips happen is by prioritizing them. And I think that's really important. And I have always done that. And as we get older, I think it's important for maintaining our relationships a little bit. And we're not running from field to field type of thing or sport to sport or activity to activity. So I'm psyched.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay to miss a game. There's so many. I wouldn't like if you're right.
Yes.
If your kid's going like they play football and there's like a championship like that, I can understand not missing that. But if it's just like a regular Saturday, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a sport off the top of my head besides hockey. I think it's okay. And if you've got that strong connection with your kid and
I think it's okay too.
Friendships.
Listen, our husbands can handle it. Can our husbands handle it? Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And you know what? It probably takes me all week to prepare to go away, to write down the notes, to do all the work, to actually get out of the house. But that's 100% worth it. I basically, in my vows, when I married my husband, told him that I get at least 2 to 3 girls' trips a year. And he gets that.
Amazing.
He has gotten that since day one. And even before we had kids, after we had kids, I have still been able to do that. So do you do a lot of girls' trips? Tell me.
I don't do as many as I would like. I should have written them in my vows.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. When I met Jerry, I don't want to say I lost my friends because I'm still friends with them, but we were all from Michigan and everybody scattered. I have one in Boston, actually. I have one in New York. A friend at the time moved to Jersey, and then another friend moved to Texas. So I was like the lone wolf back in Michigan, and I met Jerry. And so he became my end all be all basically, because I'm like, okay, I have time. Do you have time? Let's spend time together. And then we dated and my friends were having babies and getting married. So not a lot of trips happened then. So he didn't see me like that getting together kind of person. And then we had kids soon after we married. And so after kids, I'm like, hey, I want to go. And he's, what about us? I'm like, we're going to go on trips too, but I'm also going to go with my girlfriends. But yeah, I would say about once a year, we'll go on a girls' trip, but then we'll try to we'll go on a trip. Like I'll go see one person, but like big group trips, I would say once a year.
It does take a lot of planning, like we said. It does take a lot of forethought, a lot of planning. You have to consider location now and budgets, and it's a lot more things. We have a hard stop, my friends from college and we have a hard stop for birthdays and anniversaries. So we know when we're planning our girls' trips that it cannot interrupt a birthday or an anniversary, and that just works for us.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of other dates out there. Yeah.
Yes. Now, are all your girlfriends married? Because I do have some friends that aren't, and they're a lot more flexible.
They are, and they travel a lot more, and they know a lot more places. So they're actually super helpful when we decide girls' trips because they've taken a lot more of those trips.
Yes.
For sure. I love that. Yeah. I love that. Now, talking about our husbands, and I love the title of this episode is that your husband's not your everything, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. We're talking about friendships, the importance of female friendships, and how are our husbands not our everything? What do we really mean by that, Nicole?
Jerry is my everything. Like, we
Right.
built a life together. He's my friend.
Yes.
Yes.
We love our husbands.
However,
We adore our
yes,
husbands.
we love our husband. Yes, that's not what we're saying. We're not here to husband bash. But I am here to say that he's not the end all be all with my
Yeah.
relationships. He doesn't want to hear me
Yep.
hash and rehash the
Yep.
same conversation that I had with one friend until I beat it to the ground so I can understand what happened, or
Totally.
what if I had said this, or what did she mean? That's not what he wants to be there for either.
I think it's fun in this sort of midlife as our relationships change, as they do, right?
Mhm.
When I was first married, you're a little bit more naive, right? You're like, "Oh, I met my best friend. He's my everything." And you do build this life
Yeah.
together. So we absolutely love our
Yeah.
husbands. And I think it hit me of this whole topic of your husband's not your everything during COVID actually. And
Oh, okay.
when I'm a pretty social person, and when I was just hanging out with my husband the whole time,
Uh-huh.
and I really just wanted to probably rehash and hash something.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and said, "I just need you to know you need to go find your girlfriends because I can't be everything to you." He actually
Uh-huh.
brought it up with me. And then I
Yeah.
was feeling bad. Oh gosh, did I say something? Did I do something? And I thought about this a lot. And I think it is so amazing how our relationships with our husband do grow into more. We have fun together, but there's also so much more a deeper level of respect,
Mhm.
teamwork, because we are talking about morals and values a lot as our kids get older, like the
Yes.
rules around our house, how we view things, the foundation of our family, which is a lot different than we're changing diapers and what time should the nap time be, right? Or what are they going to eat for lunch? So I think that's when definitely having these like hard parenting conversations come in, is important to have those with your husband. So he's
Mhm.
our everything, right? It's just in
Yeah.
a different way than our girlfriend's everything.
Yeah, I can be so much more silly. I'm definitely silly with my husband, but there's like certain things that you talk about with your girlfriend
Yeah.
that, one, your husband's not going to get because
No.
he doesn't have those body parts. He
No.
doesn't have those issues.
Those
And
are
yeah, and those things that are changing, ever so changing. And sometimes they're funny, and sometimes you're like, hey, is this normal? Is this skin tag over here? Is this whisker here? Like, he's going to be like, I don't know. Go ask your girlfriend. What Jerry loves about me is my independence. And I think if I put
Mhm.
everything on him, he may feel suffocated. And it's good to have other people that you can lean and rely on and laugh with. And then also you bring it back to your relationship, and you can laugh about some things with your husband. And but yeah, no, my husband's not my end all be all.
Right. There are a lot of things, but they're not our
Yes.
everything. So, do you
Yeah.
have a situation where, something that you would talk to a girlfriend about rather than your husband? Or what do we think? What do we talk with our girlfriends about that we may not like always bring up with our husbands or want to bring up again?
I'm certainly not going to talk to my husband about him. If something's
Yes.
bothering me,
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
Exa-
Yes.
yes. Yeah. He knows when like he has upset me, or if he's, I don't want to say irritated. Like, you live with somebody, you get under somebody's skin. Like, I
Totally.
sometimes I just need to say, "Oh my god, this XYZ is happening. He's sick again. Is it real?"
You did call me about that.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, we just had some COVID shots, and I felt like I was being very nurturing into a certain point in the day, and I was like, "You're not sick. I got to."
I got to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know what I find with my girlfriends now, and you especially, is just that terms of emotional support of talking things out. We have to hash, and you mentioned this earlier, we have to hash and rehash. And I know I called you last week about something because I feel like women have that like initial reaction where it is a big reaction, especially if it has to do with our kiddos or maybe something to do with us personally. And sometimes our husband's not the best person to go to first, right? Because on the most part, my husband is very even keeled, right?
Mhm.
He deals with my emotional ups and downs a lot. But girlfriends are the best person to talk about something. And I know I just did this with you last week. And then you know what? I actually need to talk about again the same exact thing. And then you know what? We need to talk to
Yes.
dissect it again a
Yeah.
third time and maybe even a fourth or fifth. And there's absolutely no judgment there, right?
No, I will listen to the same story 100 times over.
And
And
that
it's almost like a healing process too. Yes.
Yes, you're so right. You're so right.
Yeah.
And I find sometimes my husband tends to want to solve a problem opposed to just
Yes.
listening, where I'm just like,
Yeah.
now he asks, do you need me to listen or do you need me to solve the problem? I think that should be also in the vows,
Oh,
actually. Like
yes.
having that
Yeah.
conversation. Is this a listening conversation? And I just nod and listen,
Mhm.
or do you actually need help? Because 99.9% of the time, I just need to vent it. I just need to talk about
Yeah.
it. And then you know what? Then I'll move on.
100%. Yes. I do have a friend that is like that, and this is like a this is a story to support what we're saying. So it's
Yeah,
not
tell
just
me,
us.
tell me.
Yes.
Okay, real life
So
story. We like those, Nicole.
yes. So my friend is a caregiver to her father, and he lives with them part-time. He lives
Mhm.
close by, but he's there a lot. And she's a recent empty nester, and she's taking care of her dad, and her siblings aren't rising to the occasion. And
Mhm.
they are
Mhm.
all close by, and she has asked them for help, and they say sure, but then they don't. And this also upsets her husband because he's not getting like his wife's attention.
Right.
Their date nights are interrupted, their vacations are interrupted, and she is needing somebody to talk to,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna be her husband. And
Mhm.
she'll
Mhm.
talk to me, and we'll talk about it for like an hour straight. And it's literally the same thing. And I'm not sitting here rolling my eyes. What let me just give you something to do, because if I tell her what to do, I don't even know what she can do. But if I told her like, "Oh, just get a caregiver." Like, that's not she knows she can get a caregiver. She just needs to relieve that stress of
Mhm.
what she's
Mhm.
going through. And what's I feel like with our friendships now, like it's like the problems are so much bigger. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
when you have little kids, little problems, big kid, big problems. Like her father is really near the end of his life. And so
Yeah.
she's dealing with guilt, and then shame from the guilt, and then resentment. And it's like there are all these big things. And she just needs somebody other than her husband, because if she talks to her husband, he's going to get angry with her family. What I
No,
mean, it's complicated.
totally.
And
I think there are more serious topics that we talk about, and
mhm,
sometimes we just need an empathetic friend, right? Someone
mhm,
just to meet us where we're at so that we feel seen and heard in a different way. And all these topics that arise that I'm realizing that happen really, really quickly are bigger problems, like you're saying. We're dealing with our parents getting older, and those are sometimes life and death
yeah,
situations. We're dealing with our kids' emotions. At the same time, they're in puberty. We're going into perimenopause and menopause. Like all
yeah,
these issues
yeah,
are, again, not deciding, you know, what the nap time is, but these are real life problems.
mhm,
And what I find also, and I know you helped me do this last week when I said, you hear something about your kids, you're that mama bear, you're something about your family. And when you're actually presented this problem with your kids or your husband, I feel like we do have to remain a little bit neutral. That's every parenting book that I say, that I read.
mhm.
Now, I'm not a good neutral person, but if
Me
I've talked
either.
about it, no, I've got emotions, but that's
Yeah,
not the best way to solve the problem. But if I talk about it with a girlfriend and I talk out that initial emotion, then
yeah,
I can present a more rational front to my
yeah,
child or to my husband. And I feel like that, like, it actually helps the problem. Like we're like problem
100%.
solvers too, right?
Yeah, we are.
It's
We're
like
gonna
free
solve.
therapy. We're free therapy.
Yes. Free therapy without the solutions, right?
Free therapy
Without
without the
the inner
solutions.
child work. Yes.
And it's free. Yeah, I
I know.
think that just helps. That helps so much to talk about
Yeah.
these bigger issues with friends for sure. And that
Yeah.
goes into also with our friendships right now, Nicole, is that issue of vulnerability, right? It's a new
Yes.
level of vulnerability, which I didn't feel that way. I don't know about you in my 20s or 30s. And
Yeah, no.
being more open and talking about these big topics that can be intense, that can be really like deep in our soul.
Yeah. I started seeing a therapist a couple of years ago, and
Hmm.
it was like a little bit after the like height of Brene Brown and her
Yeah.
talks of being imperfect. I don't remember exactly what the book was, but I told my therapist, I'm like, I want to learn how to be more vulnerable. And
Hmm.
as I started working, I started noticing like who I could share certain things with friends and not be judged and feel like it's a safe spot. And the more I leaned into that, I sometimes when you're friends with somebody, you're like, oh, I can share and tell them this and that. But like when you really lean in and then you
Hmm.
see how they handle your heart and this
Yeah.
information, whether they tell another friend in the group, it's just, it's an
It's
interesting time in find like digging deeper into those friendships and seeing who's really there. And not only that, like some of the friends that you had, let's just say childhood friends, just because
yeah.
you've been friends with them since the age of dawn, like that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they're like your whole friend. And I don't know about you, but I used to have certain friend groups, right?
Hmm?
My going out friends, these are
Yeah.
my study group friends. These are I don't want, nor do I have time for
Yeah.
5 different groups. I want what? The whole package?
Yeah. We want
Yeah.
like mom friends that are the whole package, right? I
You're the whole
definitely think that
package, Alex.
you're the whole package too. Like ones that we
Yeah.
can, you're saying we can drink wine, we can
Yeah.
go on a walk with, we
Yeah.
can talk about our husbands, we can talk about our kids. But
Yes.
also sometimes I think those friendships where they know that maybe those times that I think our female friendships are so much better about reading the room and
Yes.
knowing what do you need? Do you need that glass of wine or do you need that walk? Or do you need just for me to listen and we talk about Real Housewives? Like those type of things.
Yeah.
And we can sense
100%.
that. And I know that happened with you and I in particular last week. And I'm sure people have experienced this with their friends. When you
Mhm.
just physically see someone, you're like, you know what, you seem a little bit off. And we almost
Yeah.
need our girlfriends also to call us out. And when you did that, that made me feel so safe and so happy almost that you did that because
Yeah.
I'm like, she sees me. She knows I need to
Yeah.
talk something out. And I think that's how the vulnerability ties into it is to not be afraid to go deep and
Right.
learn with those friendships. And maybe all our friendships are changing, like we've experienced. And there are those people that you can go deeper, and there are
Mhm.
people that you can't. And it's still okay to have those friends that you see at
Right.
the PTO or have that glass of wine. You can't have every intense friendship, right? But those
Right.
people that you can be like real and authentic with, and that we can joke about our husbands or our kids or ourselves
Yes.
too. We
Yes.
need
I
to
mean,
laugh at
yes.
ourselves.
100%. Always. I'm always laughing at myself. But yes, I agree with you. I'm not just going to have, oh, these are just my 4 friends and I can't make any more
Yeah.
friends. Yes, I still have different levels of friendship, but I'm just talking about the people that come in real close. Like those are the ones that like need to have the whole package. Like, yes, I'll still have a friend that I'll go on a walk with and catch up because I want
Yeah.
to be in their life.
It's like those friends that they say, show up in their pajamas, or those friends that you don't have to
Yes.
clean your whole house and have it perfect. That is, I used to hear that and be like, who
Mhm.
does that? But
Yes.
now it's like the perfect analogy. Like,
Yes.
I was in my pajamas the other day till noon, and a friend showed up just to get something. And that's okay. And I think connecting on this deeper level is what is so important and what makes, I know for me, I value my friendship so much, what makes me whole. And I first started to realize this, Nicole, when I was talking to one of my best friends, and she's one of those everything friends. And I was describing a situation when I was on vacation and I was feeling like my hormones were going crazy, right? I was going up and down and getting mad at my husband and my kids for like
Mhm.
literally the littlest thing. It was almost when I'm telling the story to her and you, I was so embarrassed, right? I was like looking up above me and it was all that hormone up and down of those
Yeah,
feelings.
I've
And
been
she
there. Yeah.
was like, she said to me, Alex, I am so glad that you said that to me because I felt XYZ. And since then, I'm like shouting from the rooftops that situation. I'm sure my husband doesn't want me to do that, but it's like
Right.
connecting where it's you do feel seen and heard on this deeper level that I honestly didn't think it was possible.
Yeah. I didn't either. It's been a pleasant surprise starting this perimenopausal journey. Like,
Yeah,
yes.
it's been
Yeah.
good, right? Like
Yeah.
I feel I've made these deeper connections and these relationships because of this. And we can tell who's real, who's
Yes.
genuine, who's authentic, who wants to be our friends. And also at the same time with midlife, if you're not connecting with me in a certain way, I'm okay with that, right? Like we don't have to be
Right.
friends with everybody, right?
No,
We're
no.
friendly,
Yes.
like we tell
Yeah.
our
Lots
kids.
of acquaintances. Yeah. I have definitely honed my BS radar as I've
Yes.
gotten older too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just a
We
quick
we
hi bye. How are you? That's
we
fine.
also
That's
don't
fine.
have as much
Yeah.
time, right? Like we're so limited on our time. So like the people that I do want to spend time with, I really do want to spend time with. And I think I love that. And that's why like going back to the girls trip, that's why having
Yeah.
that I literally think I may put my phone down. Not really, but I think I want to put it down and just listen and be there and have that time because that weekend will last us for a
Yes.
while. We'll laugh,
Yes.
we'll cry, we'll laugh till we cry till we laugh, we'll drink lots of
Yes.
wine type of
Yes.
thing.
That's so funny. The laughing and the crying. I remember I wanted to go to see Coldplay. Okay.
Yeah.
My husband's not a big concert person. They're like one of my favorite bands. And he's like, what are we gonna do at a concert? I said, we're gonna sing out loud and we're gonna cry. He goes, you need to go with a friend. So that's another
Oh my
example of being like, is he your everything? So
Is he? Oh my God. You know what? My
is
husband
he
and I
my
do love to
everything?
go.
Yeah.
He loves to go to concerts. He
Uh-huh.
takes me to like Grateful Dead knockoff ones. And I'm like, why am I here? I'm like,
Oh,
buddy, you should be
yeah.
going with your friends. Do not
Yes.
take me to these things. I'm like, oh God, it is
Oh,
sort of funny.
sport. You are a good sport. That is
I am
amazing.
a good sport. I'm a good sport about that. Okay,
Right.
so we need to wrap this up a little bit. Tell me, is your husband your everything? What are you thinking about that after we're talking about this? How do you feel?
Uh, no, he is no, he is my most everything. Like he's my
Mhm.
touch point. He's my rock. He's my my love. But he's not my bestie. Is like another soulmate of mine. Like I just don't believe in one soulmate. How about you?
I agree. I love that way that you put it. That's like super. I think that's pretty beautiful. You can have more than one soulmate. You can have more, and that's okay. You can have, and a lot of times our friendships will change. And I love, like, our husbands are our rocks, right? Like, they're not going
Mhm.
anywhere. They're not allowed. But you can have, even when some of our friendships change, and we know they do
Mhm.
change, there is some stuff that
Yes.
goes on. Our husbands, no matter what, it's nice to have that partner that is there for the no BS at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, my husband is so practical. He gives such good advice. He listens to my crazy talk. And just to have that person sometimes that you don't need to have all those emotions with
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Exactly.
You
Yes.
know what you're going to
And
get with our husbands. We never know what we're going to get with us, right?
yes, I love that. I love that. Okay. So, Alex,
Yeah.
unsolicited advice time. Do you
Yeah.
want to
We
go
love to give
first?
advice.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll go first. I think my advice to midlife ladies out there would be vulnerable. That was
Yes.
something that I was really scared of. And it took me a long time, especially with my health journey, with who I am as a person. And I think, in the sense of, know that no one is perfect. We're all striving. We're
Mhm.
perfectly imperfect. And when you actually open yourself to be vulnerable, it's amazing what comes back with your, whether it's with your girlfriends or anyone, even your kids, I would think, because everyone feels, right? And
Yeah.
nothing is ever perfect. It may look perfect on Instagram, but you know what? It's never, it doesn't even mean that's perfect. It's just being vulnerable to who you are, how you're feeling, and knowing that you're not alone. So I love
Yeah.
that with
True to
female
yourself.
friendships, being true to yourself. Okay.
Yes.
So that's mine. What
That's
about you? Tell us some of your unsolicited
my
advice.
unsolicited advice is just going to be real short and sweet.
Yeah.
Go on the girls trip. Just go.
Take the trip.
Put it in the planner. Start a group chat. At least start talking about it with your friends. Just put it out there. Just do it.
We want to motivate you to take
Yeah.
a girls trip, right? And because there's always
Yes.
those moms that like didn't leave their kids for years and years. You know what?
Don't feel
You're
guilty.
gonna come back. You're gonna come back stronger. You're gonna come back like with gusto, like you did not think
Yeah.
you had. Contact your
Yeah.
girlfriends. We're telling you, text your girlfriends right now. Set up a doodle poll. Get that trip. I don't care if it is going to a hotel in your city. I don't
Yeah.
care where it is. It does not have to be fancy anymore. We don't care. We just need to be
No.
together. We just need cocktails, and we will be good.
Amazing. All right,
All right.
Alex. Love
Talk to you
talking
soon.
to you. Bye.
Bye.